What's up YouTube? Pete here from the Sunday Drive, and today we have a very quick video just going over the 12-month update of my Atoto A6 Pro that's been installed in my Chevy Silverado. So as I mentioned, I've had this unit for about 12 months now, and ever since installing it, I've had nothing but good things to say about it. It's been very reliable, and we've actually installed Atoto units in some of our friends' vehicles. If you're interested in learning about everything that this unit is capable of, we have a very in-depth review on our YouTube channel. It's in the card above on the right, so be sure to check that out. It's also going to be in the description below. This video is not intended to go through the entire head unit. Instead, it's just to bring up some topics that I've noticed over the last 12 months. So there is a new version of this Atoto A6 Pro out. One of the biggest differences is the bottom physical buttons have been replaced with side capacitive buttons. Personally, I'm a big fan of physical buttons because I can interact with them without looking directly at the device. I don't have to look at the device and try and figure out where the capacitive touchscreen buttons are. Also, I like the tactile feedback that a physical button provides. Even though, as I said in a previous video, the volume button, the up and the down are kind of reversed, but I have heard from other commenters that they have fixed this issue. So right off the bat, one of the things I really liked about this device was the screen brightness. This is the full brightness. You can see it very well in the middle of the day, especially in bright sunlight, and it works with polarized sunglasses. Actually, I wonder if this will work. I have some polarized sunglasses right here. Hey, you can see it. As you can see, my polarized sunglasses are over the lens, and you can still see the screen. I know that some head units have issues with this. This is an IPS screen, so really high quality and everything looks very sharp. On the bottom right, I really like the sun icon. You can quickly change the brightness display to one of 3 presets, or you can wire the unit to your headlights, so it will automatically dim at night when you turn your headlights on. Now, the main reason people might be wanting to purchase this device is for its ability to use Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Now, I use Apple CarPlay, and a friend of ours who we installed this unit in uses Android Auto, and they both work very well. In fact, I can confirm that this works perfectly fine with iOS 13, which was a major concern of mine when I had to go update my phone. Now, usually I try to avoid updates on my phone when things are working properly. Updates can be known to mess things up, especially because this unit has not been updated since I've installed it. In fact, even if you go to the settings and click on System Update, nothing happens. So I'm still on the same original version of Android 6.0 that this head unit came with. But if you're worrying about whether iOS 13 works, don't worry, it does. Also, it works with the newest version of Android. When I'm not using Apple CarPlay, I use the radio app, and it works very well. You can seek radio stations using these left and right arrows, and this is a list of all the stations that the unit found when it was doing a search. I don't know how to delete stations from this bottom bar. If you hold down on it, all it does is set this to be that. So that's one complaint, is how do I delete these presets? Same goes for here. This is a favorited station. If you hold down on it, it lets you rename it, so you can rename the station, but there's still no way to actually delete it, at least not that I know of. They could probably label or provide some sort of description of what each button does. When I'm using navigation, the GPS works awesome, and typically I'll use Cygic. This was actually suggested by someone who watches our channel, so thanks for turning us on to this. It's a data-free GPS app, so it downloads the maps when you're on Wi-Fi, and then you don't need to use the internet to navigate. So you can put in addresses and it will take you where you need to go, like the old-fashioned GPSs. It's a freemium app, so you can unlock more features when you pay for it, such as traffic and voice navigation. Right now, it doesn't even tell you when to turn. You have to just notice it on the screen, but it's nice to have for times when I don't feel like tethering my device or running Apple CarPlay. If I do use Apple CarPlay, then I use Google Maps or Waze. A lot of the apps on the App Store will work on this device, unless it's something like Pokemon Go, which can only be played in portrait mode, but realistically, you probably shouldn't be playing Pokemon Go when you're driving anyway, so that's for the best. But Libby is a good app for audiobooks, which works well, and you can also download podcast apps such as Podcast Addicts and Podcasts. I will say that I still believe that the gesture controls are kind of a gimmick, even though they're cool to show off when people are in the car. As you can see, I have most of them turned off. The only two that I have turned on are the volume up and volume down, and that's using my hand to do it in a circular motion. So that's kind of the only thing I use with the gestures. I would probably suggest to save your money and not get the gesture controls, especially if you're going to add steering wheel controls. Then it's kind of redundant. And as I said earlier, the performance of this device is still buttery smooth. There's no lag, very responsive. That's something I'm very critical about, because if there is any sort of lag or response issues, it drives me crazy. And I don't even close my apps that often, and everything runs really well. If you go to the menu, I can pull up the front-facing camera. This has been going for a couple of months now. Back when I installed it, I had heard complaints that it only lasts a couple weeks or months before it dies, but this has been running nonstop in my vehicle since I've installed it and have had no issues. So all this is being saved to an SD card on the left side of the screen. So that's where mine is. Depending on which model you have, the SD card might be in a different spot. I would highly recommend getting an SD card that is meant to be written to, especially for dash cams, a lot, or else it will fail. As you can see, the gesture control, just the news. Something that I like is right now I'm playing music. If you put the car in reverse, when the reverse camera turns on, it does actually lower the volume so you can focus while you're backing up. Because we all know that we think better when the volume's down. So as you can see with the reverse camera, you have these safety bars. The red is where my bumper actually is, then the yellow is caution, the green is good, and the blue is just really, 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 really good. If you double tap, or I don't know how I got it up, but I just brought up a menu that allows me to control the contrast. Where'd it go?
Hold down maybe?
So this is a quirk. I don't know how to pull it up. Let me try it again. Am I making stuff up? So it's little things like this that the unit does have and suffer from, but ultimately, I mean, it's not a big problem. It just makes you laugh. Basically, there was a window here, and you can control the brightness and the... Oh, there it is.
Maybe swiping.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I did like a circular motion or I swiped or something. But this brings up the menu, and you can control the brightness and the contrast of the camera. So that's cool. And this looks like saturation. Yep. And then there's a gear icon. Yep, no idea how I pulled it up, but you can control those. As you can see, the YouTube app does not keep playing if you close it out. I think there is an APK out there that you can get that will allow you to play YouTube in the background though. Now the boot up time on this does take about a minute to load up the first time, but after that, when you turn the truck off and on, it's pretty much instantaneous and ready to go. So my roommate borrowed my truck and he actually noticed how fast it started playing music and connected to Bluetooth. Now you do need this dongle for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to work. We have a video describing what this is and where to get it. We'll also have a link in the description below. If you want to see that video, click on the card on the top right of this video. Essentially, this also charges your phone while you're plugged in. And in my case, for the iPhone, it does charge it appropriately. It won't slowly lose the charge while I'm driving. I know that sometimes Android phones, depending on how many apps you're using, it can require more power from the battery, and therefore you might slowly trickle drain your battery, but I have no complaints about this so far for me. Now this unit does have two Bluetooth chips. Bluetooth 1 is under this Bluetooth music icon, and this is where you connect to your phone to stream music or make phone calls. There's also Bluetooth 2, but you have to go to the settings. And at the top you'll see Bluetooth 2. If you click on that, this is where you'll connect to your phone to do other Bluetooth functions like data tethering. I have managed to get both of these working, so I know that some people complained that they've had issues with this, but with my iPhone, I've been able to not only pair my device and tether, but also stream music using this Bluetooth music app. This also comes with an external Wi-Fi antenna, which so far has worked really well. I'm able to download apps from my driveway. One thing about downloading apps from the App Store, or the Play Store in this case, is I do notice that if I want to download an app, sometimes it won't start downloading unless I turn off the device and turn it back on. After that, it downloads perfectly fine and very quickly. So that's just another quirk that I've noticed. But the App Store works very well. And all the other apps have worked really good too. Pandora, YouTube, Netflix. We did test out this Torque app. I don't have a Bluetooth OBD sensor, but Cliff does, and I have plugged it in and was able to read codes and look at my engine diagnostics. So overall, I have nothing but good things to say about this device. I hope that if you purchase this, you have a similar experience. I know that, everything's different for everybody, but we would not promote something that we don't like or believe in, and Atoto has not done us wrong over these last 12 months. So we have no problems suggesting this as the next purchase. I will say that this device has made my speakers sound better than the factory head unit, which is expected, but it works good. If you are looking for a device that is easily rooted, this might not be the one for you. I don't know too much about it, but I have heard complaints that it's a little bit more involved and difficult to root. So you might want to look elsewhere, or at least see what it entails if you want to get into that. If you found this 12-month update to be helpful, please give us a big like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.